I was kind of going back and forth with SHONNER on YouTube on just one of the comments, and one of the things I was bringing up was an idea that I'm going to try SHONNER's method of role playing with my current group, and we're playing a cipher system. We're actually playing Numenera. But and this is something that he said was having an easy to resolve system behind it would be advantageous. So cipher is as easy as a system can get, but lots of depth in the characters, but very simple resolution. In fact, the game master doesn't roll any dice at all, so which leaves me a lot of time to reflect and think and create on the fly. It's very easy to improv with, but the idea here is, and I've talked to this with one of my players, and he thought it was a great idea, is to not have the players bounce off the narrator, the dungeon master or referee or whatever you want to call the game DM or whatever, but have it so kind of like, you've got your narrator who's your Morgan Freeman, and you notice that in movies nobody ever talks to the narrator. They kind of lend their thoughts as their characters and their processes as the characters, as if they were describing what they were doing in order to answer questions. Like, for example, if a player wanted to know how high a ceiling was and stuff like that, instead of asking the narrator or game master how high the ceiling was, they would say, "I'm looking up to gauge the height of the ceiling," and stuff like that. In that way, the narrator can describe what they're seeing and that sort of thing. Because, with all due respect, and I've seen a lot of game masters talk about having miniatures and having things drawn out on a like a ChessX map like this one here. That gets rid of half the questions right there. Because if I'm describing for example, a room, which let's see, do I have a dry erase pen readily here? Yeah, I'll grab this one here. So let's say, for example, a game master describes a room as a 20 by 30 room with an alcove in the center as you're facing the room from entering the door, and you're actually to one side, to the northern east edge of this room, and there's a pillar on the north side and the south side of the room. Well, if you're trying to visualize that in your head as a player, and you go ahead, write down on a piece of graph paper exactly what you thought I was just describing. And there's also another door exiting the south, kind of mirroring what you're seeing in the room from where you've entered. And to kind of put it in perspective, you are facing west. Now, that's a lot of stuff to digest as far as a mental picture. And then you'll go through your first player is going to be asking questions and stuff. or indicating by his player persona that he's looking up, trying to identify other features in the room that would kind of clarify the aspects. But at the same time, when another player is coming up, or the third player in the row comes up with their turn, they're like, I still can't visualize what's going on here. Like, theater of the mind, why is this sounds like a confusing room, when in actuality, and I'm just going to draw it out here, is you've entered in from a door over here, and like I said, it was a 20 by 30 room. So we're going like this, 20 by 30, or there is a 20 by 30 room. Looks like this. Alcove with an altar in there, and a pillar at each end, and a door mirroring the one that you've just entered from. So you're coming in from this way. So if your brain did not get that by my description, well, yeah, it's going to be hard to describe something like this, where it is actually a pretty simple setup, but not readily visualized by the players offhand on the spur of the moment. Now, yeah, I don't use, I don't use having characters coming in and indicating exactly where, like, when I got players coming in and they have an adversary here, I am not going to make them go ahead and start, being tactical, and I would rather just them move their characters to where they're going to, and then we'll portray the battle as what's happening. This orc might be throwing something at this wizard here to distract him. This guy, who is obviously an archer, is going to be pulling off shots here at this warrior orc, and we would describe the action as thus. But to get the brains of the players to work, even in just the most simple of description of dungeons, would take like reiterations over and over again, describing exactly where all these things are. And if you're not drawing it, they'll still have no idea in their head. And in fact, if you took my description of how I described it ahead of time, rewind back, and you had tried to draw it, without even seeing what I had on a piece of paper, you would still have no idea. So it'd be all confusing. So I feel having a Chessex map kind of detail out something, or even as I've shown in my many examples here, I just draw stuff out, like we have a room here, we have a hallway this way, a hallway that way, and there's an alcove here, and there's a pool in the middle, and that's enough. Even if just a quick little doodle like this gets you by real fast. So you don't have to worry about thinking, okay, where's that exit, where's this other exit going up north, where's this exit going out east, and where's this alcove, where's this pool. It's all there. You don't have to describe it any further as far as directional, and thus the players can go ahead and deduct more details out of the room just by asking as characters. So anyways, I ended up and then this is another debate here, is how much do you use miniatures. Like, personally, I don't use them tactically, like as in we're moving exactly 5 here. We're using them as a gauge, and just positioning, just so we have our brains, knowing exactly where we are. And it gets rid of the, questions, oh, can I actually shoot from behind this? Obviously you can, where it would be kind of questionable if you were playing this like purely theater of the mind. So, but either way is okay. I mean, if you want to play the whole thing theater of the mind, it's great. But this alleviates a lot of these crazy questions. So I find that saves time, let alone. And I know it would end up causing more time to be spent by counting how many, so we don't do that. We just, well, this is a room, you got basically 5 of these blocks to move, so just move roughly. It's very easy. Just move your person in position and we go from there. It's no biggie. Everything's answered here. They know everybody's in range. They're not going to ask you, well, what, am I in range? Can I blast them? Can I see them? It's very evident, and you don't have those questions being popped up all the time. So anyways, so there's debate for that. Like I say, do it the SHONNER's method of playing this game. So my players have indicated interest in trying this out and seeing where we go with that. And hopefully it works out. So we preempted our game this week due to one of my players has a family coming in. And so that there's 2 players in that family, that are related, and so they have to go to the same sort of commitment and everything. But it gives me some time to go ahead and give you some BS videos here for the time being. So, and do a couple of videos tonight. Vetting. As far as vetting goes, that's another thing that was mentioned as well. I don't like vetting. Like, everybody can be taught something, and that's what I find with my own personal work, training people to become more open. Everybody's got their extrovert and introvert personalities, and it's just a question of whether or not we can bring out that extrovert in a person and be able to communicate with a customer really efficiently. And if you have to use the DJ voice. I mean, if you got to bring in a personality, go for it. If you've ever been in the music industry and you've ever had to encounter the stage, that is where your personality can split, and you're going to have that either the makings of a performer or you're not going to be a performer. So I'm in my videos, I'm not going to force my performer persona on you guys or anything. This is just me being my quasi introvert self. So I'll just be kind of more chill, relaxed, and not like I am at work. Because my co-workers that have ever seen videos of this know I'm a totally different person when it comes to doing this than I am being a teacher at work. So just the way it is. So vetting, patience. You got to have patience with the players. You got to be able to teach them. If you don't teach them, they're not going to learn anything. And if you don't invest any time with them, it's just a waste of time. So if you're going to bring in a person, you want to see that they do have some sort of qualities to have a good imagination in that, obviously. Because if they don't, they're going to have a hard time with this, and they're just going to play it like a board game. But if they are able to learn and you can teach them something, then great. Keep on with it. I've played for many years with as just the way that we learned from day one in 1978. It's just the Mother May I method. Where you're asking the game master exactly what can you do in this situation, but of course not being so much of a play your own adventure kind of thing where it's kind of a set amount of questions you can ask. No, you question things out of character and then you play in character. and say what you're doing. Even though it doubles up the time, that's the way we learnt it back then. So, I mean, even the old great Gary Gygax said, "Sure, you really want to do this?" That's a game master questioning, you know. And if you're questioning, this is the vibe that we're getting off of him back in the day, is that you're doing the question answer thing with players. So that's the way we were taught. We didn't have YouTube or any kind of, there was no internet or any way of communicating with the next town, for crying out loud, in communities about how to play this game. When I first tried to play like Gamma World was the first role-playing game I picked up. I thought it was a board game. Seriously, I did not know it was. I thought it was something that you would pick up from Avalon Hill, because we played a lot of war games and stuff back then. And the rules are all written out to, you know, a section 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, and then if you needed to, there was also 1.21, 1.22, and, you know, subsections, and your rules were written out in such a way that you go through the engagement of play, and you would know what step what you would be doing at those times. And that would be the rule sequence, and you would end up learning the game that way until you had that down to a science in your head, and you didn't have to refer to these rules anymore, and you pretty much knew the game like the back of your hand after a while. The thing is, when the Gamma World and stuff like that, in the box set, Holmes edition box set, they weren't written that way, so it was very confusing for a person that was from a wargaming background, like myself, and you know, in Avalon Hill SPI games, to come into this and read this stuff and go, I don't understand. Where's the side A against side B? Who is this referee? Are we playing a co-op like many of us playing against a process of random rolls here or something? Like, is there what is going on here? We didn't understand what the heck until we ended up finding a friend whose brother had gone to a convention in Vancouver and learned how to play Dungeons and Dragons. And by then he had like the AD&D books, the hardcovers, which had just come out. And he said, "Okay, this is how you play, guys," and blah blah blah. He pointed out how to role play, how to roll up the characters, how to have the one game master run through a room, and you would, okay, now we're understanding what's going on here. Now that we have an example firsthand. And thing was, you know, once we had that down, yeah, we bought the box set of Holmes, and we went from there. Anyways, that's where I'm going with all these inquiries with SHONNER's channel, and talking about, you know, the being the role-playing elite and stuff like that. And I think I had a good laugh in the background watching the retorts back and forth, because I've you know, maybe SHONNER doesn't know this, but I've known SHONNER for quite some time, being through the 3D communities, as well as you know, through YouTube under my other channels. I have like 3 other channels that one I do artwork, another one I do music production, and another one was just me doing stuff, right? And then I have this one, which is my newest channel, which I've had, maybe 2 years, if that. And nobody knows about this channel from my other channels, so I started like right from 0 people, and didn't have anybody pop over. So from my other channel, well, maybe a couple did eventually. So, anyways, that's all I have to say about all this kind of weird stuff that has been coming up in the last couple of weeks, where I haven't really been able to talk about it, mainly because, you know, trying to edit videos and that kind of stuff, work, training new people, and just being busy all around. wife's got a birthday coming up as well, so she's hitting 50. I remember when I hit 50. That was rough. So I'm getting closer to 60 now. Anyways, so that's where I stand on all this kind of stuff. So if you see me kind of giving you ridiculous comments out there, you know why. Just come see this video, or just kind of reinforce where my head's at on this. So yeah, gonna try this this pure role play method with my gamers next week when we get back on track. And yeah, what we'll be playing is, where did I put it? Yeah. What we're going to be playing, obviously, will be a Cypher system. My favorite system, like I say, very easy, very quick, a lot of options for the players. Very easy for, like, it's kind of between it's kind of between Traveler and D&D, from level to being skilled level, where you're still leveling, but it's not as kind of that stretch that you see with D&D, because you can play Cypher characters being tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, tier 6. They can play synchronicity, so they'll be able to go on the same adventures and stuff. Just some will be better than others, but still, the fighting and all this stuff is all very, you'll be able to mix it up a little bit more. And like you say, easier system to use. This is definitely one of the easiest systems to use. I don't know if any of you guys have even tried this, but once I got onto it, despite what you may have to say about Mr. Monty Cook, I think he was a genius at this, because it's very easy and very malleable to use in any kind of background, any backdrop of science fiction, fantasy, superhero. All that stuff can be done with this. I do have Tallus coming in as a Cypher system book, because I want to use it on the Strange. So I'm going to have my the Strange investigator group, which I will situate in a new campaign, going to different dimensions and stuff like that. And one of them will be Tallus itself, Monty Cook's own setting as well. So that'll make some really, really cool gaming. So the Strange is more like Moorcock's kind of his Eternal Hero series, with Elric and all that, So it's more like trans-dimensional traveling, where you're one person in this dimension, but then you go ahead and transition to another dimension where you're this hero or character or whatever, and trying to defeat the enemies of each of the worlds, and cool stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. So thanks for tuning in, and hope I haven't babbled your ear off. Please subscribe.